Is there any other township business?
I do have one question. I thought Steve was gonna look into it. I don't know if we'll have it at our next township meeting, but the gas, project out here, if that decommissioning and how that's gonna happen, or whether we could have somebody from the pipeline come and tell us what's gonna happen there. Are they right now?
We got notified that they're gonna take out the pipes. I don't know what they'll do with the property afterwards, and
The information that I received from them, is that they have filed the paperwork with the federal government to decommission, that it'll take 2 to 3 years before they can do so. They've got to pump all the gas out of the lines, and all the lines that are running horizontal are, other than the ones that they specifically stated in that letter that I brought here, are going to be left where they're at. That if somebody's going to build and needs them to remove the pipe from the section where they're going to build, that they contact them and they'll come out and remove that section of pipe. They said that they was going to be running some sort of a chemical foam through the pipes that would take all the gas and anything to where it would make it dangerous out of it. He said that he would like for someone to come and speak to the township, but at this point in time, he was afraid to because of the wind ordinance and whatnot, and he wanted to wait until after this was all said and done before he would be willing to come out. He inferred, he didn't come right out and say it, but he inferred that he was more afraid of for his life if he come than. I think that was a little extreme, but I'm just referring what I understood from him. And he said that if anybody wanted to talk to him, that he would be more than willing to talk with anybody in the township about it. And if the township gives him an opportunity after the wind ordinance is all situated to where there ain't all the heated debate over it, that he would be willing to come out and talk.
I just got more paperwork the other day, I'll make a copy of it, so everybody has a copy and so on.
Okay, is there anything else, Winfield or township business? If not, I'll open it up for public comment. State your name, where you're from, in 2 minutes. Yes.
Because nobody else has public comment. I did bring that today, I come up, Pam Hillis, Montgomery Township, and I just printed up one. This shows that in our county, it's a University of Michigan study, that the wind is marginal to poor in our county for wind turbines. Just a little piece of information.
Thank you.
Okay, then I have a couple of things that other people asked me to talk about. Sheila Crooks couldn't be here tonight. She talked to Homeworks, Tri-County board member today, and she mentioned that Chris Johnson at Maple Valley said that his power went out, and when he called Homeworks, they said there was no supply. The person that Sheila talked to said that never happened. Also, he said that they're asking people to send letters, and she posted a link that had to do with what you were talking about the gas, where if enough people maybe complained about it, maybe they would keep that in here. But the big thing she wanted was that what Chris had said about Homeworks, they said that was not the reason for the power outage. So then the other one is another friend, and she couldn't come tonight either. And she mentioned that at the last meeting, John Black, said that his understanding was that there would be fewer turbines if they went big, and that is what Albert's project called for, is a bigger turbine. And she gave me a quote from the Daily News. A question was asked, if this project goes through, after 75 turbines are built, is there potential that there would ever be more in this county? And that was Olivia Bloomstrom that asked that. And also in the Daily News, his answer was, in this county, perhaps, Youngawald responded, perhaps there would be more turbines in Montcalm County as a whole, but not within his existing. So he's saying, yeah, there's potential for more than 75, but I think we all knew that if we passed these weak ordinances.
Someone else? Yeah,
Kevin Murphy, Winfield Township. What she was trying to say, and I'm sure you're all aware of it, initially, Apex said we anticipate that 75 turbines in Montcalm County. Anticipation doesn't mean squat. They'd anticipate to put 75 in. By the time they're done, you'll see hundreds. And I really hope that you think about that. When you pass this, you may think, oh, cool, man, they're just gonna have one and I'll see it in the distance. You're gonna be overwhelmed. Probably a lot of the people that live in this county, when I say probably, this township, will move. Your tax base will drop. It's proven, and I know Albert said in a meeting in Maple Valley, that values haven't gone anywhere. It's very, very untrue. I asked a specific question about a family, and I intentionally said the wrong name. He corrected me, because he said, I don't know them, but I know these guys. He's very much aware of why the family moved. Dan's been to their home, said, yes, it's extremely noisy, but I guess there's nothing we can do about it. They have moved. They're building a new home. They lived in a camper. We went over last winter and helped them try to erect the barn so they could move their livestock. It's sad. And I really hope that you guys really think about how you're going to affect the township, because it's going to be there forever. I mean, forever. They say the life expectancy is 20 years. What are you going to do with them in 20 years? Put them along the fence row? No. So please consider that. Think about the whole population, not just a few people that want the money. Thank you.
Nick?
I just need a clarification. When you were voting, was that to approve the wind ordinance as amended?
Yes.
So it's a done deal?
Yes.
3-2 vote?
Correct.
Okay,
That's
thank you.
why I voted. That's why I voted.
Great, cut. Okay, thank you.
Someone else? Yes.
Well, I think a lot of this is irrelevant at this point, since you guys put this all through this
What
morning.
is your name?
Derek Dickerson, Winfield Township. First, I want to start out with a kind of reply to Mr. Black's comment from the last meeting. Mr. Black stated that he doesn't want the height restrictions too low over Apex. We'll build more of them, and he doesn't want them all over his property. Guess what? We don't want them all over our township either. That's why we're all here. I guess we're kind of sitting all in the same boat. You don't want a bunch of them on your property, then don't sign a lease or help the residents sign a restricted wind ordinance. I'm also a real estate agent here in the area. I pulled market summary numbers today from Michigan MLS, Michigan Regional Information Center, in both Gratiot County and Montcalm County. Why did I pick Gratiot County, not one of the other counties with turbines? Because the other night, Apex Albert spoke at Maple Valley Township and stated that Gratiot County values continue to go up. That's not true. Let's start by looking at Gratiot County 2017 versus last year in 2021. Gratiot County average homes sold in 2017 for $116,695 versus last year in 2021, their average home sold for $92,458. That's a decrease, not increase, of 20.76%. Like everybody else was going up, theirs was going down. The numbers don't lie. Now let's look at Montcalm County during the same time frame. Montcalm County in 2017, the average home sold for $119,464 versus last year, our average homes sold for $190,148. That's an increase of 37.17%. If you compare both counties last year, Montcalm County's average home sold was 51.37% higher than Gratiot County's. When we were going through the pandemic and COVID time frame, everyone started working from home and they wanted out of the city and moved into the country for some peace and quiet, not next to some industrial wind farm. Once again, the numbers don't lie. This shows Montcalm County is doing much better than Gratiot County with all their wind turbines. All you have been put in a position to protect this township and its residents. Don't turn your backs on us like you are now for your own financial gain at the expense of the rest of the township. Also, if you don't believe the numbers, I can supply the numbers.
Anyone else? Yes.
Vinnie True Township. I have a feeling the reason the guy doesn't want to come to talk about the decommissioning of the pipeline is because it's going to show how much of an issue it's going to be for the decommissioning of the huge wind project. It's going to prove that you guys are going to have basically no control. It's going to be hard to get a hold of him. He's basically telling you that he might come in and do a little presentation when he wants to. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I just wanted to point that out since nobody else really was going to say anything about that.
Okay, someone else?
Warren Winfield, are you done conducting business for the meeting?
This is public comment.
So they're not gonna answer you. Cause your special notice that just magically appeared said we're gonna close the fiscal year as well. And I'm wondering who called the meeting tonight.
I did.
We asked you to reconsider the solar ordinance, we begged you to do what you did tonight on the solar ordinance, and you didn't. And you turned around a week after having a meeting and discussing, and turned around and did the exact opposite. You are showing us that you are not listening, and you are infuriating. And it just makes it easier for us, because now we can do recall and referendum signatures at the exact same time. Thank you.
Yes. Is there someone else who wants to comment? Kathy?
My name is Kathy Cobb and I live on Winfield Lake, and I just have a question. Kathy Killinger is concerned about her land and her property, and she was asking questions and trying to get answers. And the attorney told her that she could have a conflict of interest and have to recuse herself if she was asking questions for her own behalf. But yet, there's people sitting up there on the board who have received checks because they signed leases, and they're not going to have to recuse themselves. In fact, they voted tonight. And I just wonder why a woman who's concerned and asking questions about her own property would be a conflict of interest that would need to recuse herself. What, can you answer that, Mr. Fahey?
So it's a difference between one, that's not what I said. Two, it's a difference between a legislative activity that impacts an entire township and it's not regulating a project. But if you have a project and you are impacted by that particular project where you have a person.
Was it because she was saying my land, or if she would say a non-participating land?
No, it's not. It's a different analogy that I was discussing with her when she was saying, could I go to a planning commission public hearing and talk about I'm objecting to a project, a particular project, not drafting an ordinance. So I'll give a different example that I think might help with the conflict of interest, and I've given it before. It's usually not controversial when a planning commission, let's say these are your lakefront district, you are reducing setbacks in your lakefront district. And someone on a planning commission or someone on a township board may live on the lake, and they vote on the zoning ordinance amendment, when that could have a financial impact on them, because they're presumably maybe they could use more of their land for residential activities. It's it's our opinion, and I know many and some disagree with it, that when you're performing a legislative activity, especially a legislative activity that impacts everybody, it's not governing a project, it's a different scenario than considering a project. And then also a legislative activity that ultimately can be subject to a direct democracy up or down vote, that it's not a conflict of interest in that particular scenario to vote on an ordinance as a whole. Her example was if there's a project and a planning commission hearing, and I am against the project because I believe it would abut it's next to my property, I'm against it because I believe it would personally impact my property, then, and I object to it at the planning commission, then my role as a township board member is to consider the project at the township board. At that point, you're not legislating for the entire township, you're essentially considering a project that impacts you. So that's a different analogy. That's what I was telling Kathy. So it's different. You can disagree with it if you want, but that is, I think it's supported by the law, and that's our position.
And one other thing, since my 2 minutes aren't up yet, John, I do appreciate that you are trying to work and make people happy. You're trying, I know you are.
I just have one thing to say, like, I understood and heard everything that you said about the legislation. This process is all about just writing the legislation, right? But it's basically a distinction without a difference. As soon as you open the door, these same people who have a vested financial interest in seeing these turbines be placed on their property or their loved one's property, so they have a financial interest in it, the door's already open, so that it's already 3-2. And so someone comes in with a particular property in mind, the vote is already against them. Am I right? Yes.
I don't necessarily agree with that. And
Of
I
course
did
you
provide the township board of legal opinion, and the township board, when they're legislating, also, every township board member, and this is what has been shared publicly, it has a fiduciary duty to the township, and they need to act in what they believe are the best interests of the township. Obviously, that is different depending on your perspective of this particular issue. And I recognize it's a controversial. Excuse me, I represent the township. No, that's not.
Stop.
Excuse me.
Okay, but then my next question is, how is this ordinance representing the township if it's such a dichotomy about people who have a financial interest in it and people who don't have a financial interest in it? What are the benefits? To the people who voted yes, it seems like it's a financial benefit. To the people who voted no, maybe they're trying to.
I'm the only one that has signed, our family's the only one that signed an agreement with Apex.
And you feel perfectly fine about that?
I would not have done it if I hadn't been advised that it's okay. This is a legislative, I had 2 different attorneys tell me this is fine to do this, because it's a legislative thing. It's not putting money in my pocket.
So
And
then
wait, listen to me now this time. This is enough. I listened to you, let you rant last week. This is enough. Now you listen to me.
We gotta raise our voices
No.
too.
So you
Quiet
can
down.
hear me. You stop or I'll have you removed.
Go ahead, try it.
Right now.
Come on.
Let's
Stop,
Gordon.
Just like, I wanna hear what she
Okay.
has to say. I
Point
wanna
of
hear
order.
what she has to say.
Everybody knows what you can do if you don't like an ordinance, correct? Okay, that's what I think would make the most sense. Everybody can decide if they like that. So I don't think it's kind of pointless to just bicker and debate after it's done, right?
The point
So
is.
I don't think we should do that. I think we should just do the public comment like a normal township meeting. We disagree, we can, respect each other, maybe we can't respect each other, but we can at least act cordial with each other and just do public comment, maybe not have the back and forth during public comment. I think we were trying to help to answer questions, but, when we get responses to the answers, you can not like the answers to your questions, but it may not make sense to just have a debate, because it really doesn't get us anywhere.
And it doesn't
Just
really
wait.
matter, and you're right.
Correct, yeah.
The vote's already been done, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right, you're right.
Okay, Kelly.
Kelly Jefferson, Douglas Township. I just wanna thank everybody for all the work that they put in on not only the wind, the solar, but the gas lines. I mean, that is something in which I didn't realize that they were taking out to the extent in which they are, and then leaving those parts in, and I appreciate you for getting all that information, that's truly helpful. And the analogy in which you use, you know, I can't always understand how far something is until I do use it in my own backyard or in my own house, or, you know, how far is that from point A to point B, so I understand why you did that, and that makes perfect sense to me once you said that. So, and I do you know, you got a hell of a job right there, Kyle, and I apologize for the way some people are acting, and this week and last. But I do appreciate all the hard work that everybody has put in on this, whether your opinions match mine or not. That's why we all have opinions, so I do appreciate all the work that's been put into it, here and at home and on the side and all that other, so thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
Kathy Craig, Douglas Township. Since the meeting is still going and Kathy had some concerns, I would like to ask you to please reconsider some of the things that were talked about tonight while you still have a chance. I'm asking you also that if you could reconsider some of the changes to reflect more of the wishes of some of the citizens, particularly Dave Myers has presented to you several times. I've been to many township meetings across the state, and there are many, many townships with ordinances that protect the people and that have not been sued by the big wind companies, because that seems to be one of the concerns that I hear at all the meetings. Eureka Township, for example, recently passed a 300-foot height limit, 45 feet all max, fair, safe setbacks, zero shadow flicker on non-participating properties. At the property line, the setbacks are from non-participating property lines, which is only fair, which is what Kathy was trying to get at there. It was reviewed by their lawyer, found to be legally defensible. Pearson Township, Sydney Township, Pine Township all have similar ordinances that protect their citizens. What is happening in Winfield Township here, it's really a travesty. The division that Apex Wind Energy has created in this beautiful little township here is really, it's kind of sickening actually. The people are looking to you as a board to put a stop to all of this. This is your opportunity. Show the people that you can do what they have elected you to do and do the right thing by them, because it's the people that make up the township. It's a legislative action on the township, but it's the people that make up the township. So you're doing it for them. No matter what Apex is telling you, the lease terms that give Apex property rights over the landowners. They tell the landowner what they can and cannot do on their property. I grew up 4 blocks north of 96 in Detroit and 3 blocks west of Telegraph Road. The noise from the traffic, the industry, the sirens, city life in general, it's nonstop. The night sky, you can't even see the stars. Where I grew up, the light pollution was so bad. I don't think you realize the precious gift that you have up here in this beautiful rural setting. I would ask you again to reconsider some of this and don't sacrifice the peace of the people in your township and their rights for a for-profit industry that has no interest in protecting the people or the environment. The lease terms, they might try to refute them. I have a lease right here. All the highlighted portions talk about the sacrifice and surrender of property rights. It is your job to protect everyone. Some people may have signed and not know what they signed. They're looking to you for protection as well. Some people didn't have a lawyer look at it. They don't know necessarily how many rights they're giving up. It's so important. Please reconsider at the very least the property line issue Kathy was trying to bring up. The meeting's not done, you can still do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Name, sign, Aldridge, my county township. I just can't believe that you want to take and ruin the landscape with these big turbines in there. You want to see them go over east of here and popping up like mushrooms. Then you take Isabella County, how they popped up through there and everything. It's been announced on TV, the sheriff ain't got enough gas money. So where is all the money that's going to these counties through these turbines and everything else? I can't get any questions. And I watched a couple of documentaries on these. They would be a good supplement. I'd rather have a small nuclear plant in my backyard than I would one of these turbines, because they're more efficient today, they're more protective and everything, because we have them running all around the world, nuclear power, in these submarines and these aircraft carriers. And so therefore, these wind turbines are nothing but, like I say, an eyesore. We have a beautiful landscape here. I'm from Jackson area originally, and like the lady said, she lived in Detroit, I live in Jackson. All the noise. I live out in the country, it's beautiful, and now you wanna take and ruin it. I live by a tower, it's 343 feet, and it's never bothered me ever since I was a little boy coming up here. And now it's gonna be 675 feet, or ever how tall you wanna bring these in at? No, thank you. All they are is salesmen trying to take and show you guys money, and there isn't no money there. In the long run, you'll be paying it, and you don't have no rights to your property anymore either. You have to get a hold of them and see if you can do what you wanna do. Thank you.
Chris Johnson, Pine Township. I'm not sure what Sheila was going for when she said, I mean, our power went out. What I said was, our power went out, I called the company, and they said it was power supply issues. That's what I said. So I don't know what she was trying to bully again, because I've had different times I've talked in meetings. The last Winfield meeting I went to, and the reason I haven't been back is I was called a liar in the meeting. Made the Greenville paper out. I don't lie. So, you know me, I born and raised in this area. So the bullying, that's what upsets me the most. John, thanks you for researching. If we can get a 6 megawatt and put fewer of them up, I'm an engineer. You put fewer of them up, they're not as much of an eyesore. You talk about the haves and the have-nots. I don't live on a lake. I would prefer to go on a lake and not see a bunch of houses. But I'm not going to tell you can't build a house on a lake. So you have, people that, I don't own a dollar store, they put a dollar store like you.
Yeah, but our lake houses don't affect.
I'm talking. So, the interruptions and stuff has been, we got blamed for, this division. Where is the division coming from? That's not the people with the blue shirts. We're trying to be nice about it, we're trying to have a discussion about it. I haven't been able to talk to anybody about it. They don't want to talk about it, they want 0 towers. They want restrictive ordinances, so there's 0 towers. It's not like, well, let's discuss setbacks. And, 1340 is a quarter mile. That's quite a ways. Let's talk about that. No, 1640 farther from a house. I think that's the discussion you want to have. If you're going to vote no on the ordinance, you should have discussed why you want what you didn't believe in. And that's what I think. Should go. So.
Someone else have a comment? If not, I'll close public comment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Kathy, like to revisit her concern?
You can.
You could always make a motion, that, my recommendation is follow Robert's rules, if there's something mandating, follow Robert's rules. So you could make a motion, and say, vote on it.
I make a motion that we put them from the lot line instead of from a residence.
I think the motion we want to make is, I make a motion to reconsider adoption of the social.
I make a motion to reconsider the adoption of the ordinance for the purpose of adding from the lot line instead of from the residence.
Could you please say it louder?
I know what I said.
I'm sorry.
I can't hear you though.
Well, you guys are talking, so.
I'll second it.
She's making a motion from the property line setbacks.
I think the first step is to open up the discussion basically again, and then you have, so I think you vote on the motion to reconsider. Open it, discussing the plan ordinance more. So I think you want to vote on the motion more, unless there's discussion. You can have discussion or you could vote on
They have discussion. we'll hold that.
No discussion.
And I guess there's, I'm trying to even think back through the PCA's. I know it's been brought up a lot. And I guess there's no, not participating in anything from a house lot to. Yes.
So we were talking about lot line now. Now we're talking about moving it from the habitable. Yep, to the lot line.
What you're essentially talking about is, you go to page 8 and you look at number 4, on K4. What Kathy is attempting to, is articulated is, I want it to be 1640 from the property line of a non-participating lot versus 2 times tip height. That's what she's talking about. Well, she was phrasing it for K1, but it essentially, it follows K4, yeah, so that's what I would, that would be a lot cleaner to do it that way at the same time. If you want to do it. Or you could choose not to revisit the ordinance, I mean, that's the two choices you have.
You guys have some discussion? Well, I see what I wanted. What yours said. That's not really moving it very much, but it's a little bit.
Well, on your property, you're right, it's not moving it very much, but what John is saying is, say, this other person's got 80 acres instead of a 5, then it'd be moving it quite a bit, or if that person has 120 acres, then it's gonna be moving it that much more.
Well, you're gonna move it 320 feet. Because you gotta stay back from lot lines right now at the 1,320 feet, or 2 tip lines.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, the planning commission, this number was originally when